Welcome to the Unnamed Media mini series on my channel. My name is Dr. Casey Rudzinski. We'll be sharing stories, highlighting helpful hints, and leaving leadership lessons with professionals in the athletic and sport industry. My first guest, Cedric Solice, needs no introduction. His current residence speaks a lot about who he is as a person, his background. So without further ado, welcome, Zed.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And, first and foremost, you and I haven't had a chance to actually speak since you became Dr. Casey. So, congratulations to you on that. That is a remarkable journey. I think you're part of the One Percenter Club now. So, good for you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So just give everyone a chance to get to know who you are. Let's start with your background. Where are you from? What was life growing up? And some of those early stages of your career.
Woo. I don't know if we have enough time for all that, but I'll give it a whirl. So, we're originally born in Washington, D.C. I'm a Washington, D.C. kid. Child of a military mom, single mom, so there was a lot of moving around growing up. Ended up back in DC to finish school. The odd thing about my journey was, strangely enough, I actually was not going to go to college. It's something that I think people are really surprised about, considering the amount of college that I've done now in my lifetime. But all the way up until just before my senior year, college was not even on the radar. Nobody actually even talked to me about college, which was even crazier. I went to great schools, but it was just something that people just didn't talk to me about. They thought I was going to go into the military and that was it. And I was, at age 18, I signed my selective service documents at the mayor of Washington, D.C.'s desk in the military promo. Like it was, I was the golden child, so to speak, for that route and that path. But I ended up getting an opportunity to go to college. I went to college for music, which surprises a lot of people. So I did my bachelor's degree in music education.
Well, the arts, and music being a part of the arts is part of that extracurricular realm, right? So not too far off.
Not too far off. And I could say it was really cool because I've had teachers and professors all along the way who were very amenable to me doing both sports and the arts. And there were a lot of people who that story was not the case for. They were told to pick one. They were told to choose one very early on, and there wasn't an allowance to explore both. And so I was very, very fortunate because I've had phenomenal careers in both as a result. So I went off to college and had an opportunity to do both, at a really high level. And then I said, well, this college thing has gone pretty well. I got my bachelor's degree. Let's go on and get a master's in it. And I did a gap year in between. So I did my undergraduate at Charleston Southern. And then I did a gap year in between where I did both music and basketball, actually. So I was a national clinician. I was a marching band national clinician and adjudicator for that fall. And I would travel the country doing clinics, and I would travel the country judging contests every weekend. And then in the winter, a buddy of mine came to me, and it's a crazy story, actually. He said, hey, we're playing in a tournament in DC. I know you're home. Come check us out. And I said, okay. So I'll go check the game out. And he called me afterwards. He said, what do you think? And I gave him my rundown of what I thought, because we shared a basketball history. So he, for whatever reason, trusted my basketball acumen. And so I gave him the rundown, and he said, okay. He said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm just getting ready for grad school. I'm getting ready to start submitting my applications and doing my visits and the whole nine. He said, well, come coach my team with me. And I said, excuse me. And so he said, come coach my team with me, man. You can come out here and you can stay. And he was coaching at a military prep school. And so I said, oh, okay. So I show up, and so like I said, I literally have just finished all things music, marching band, the whole nine. And I'm in the midst of doing college auditions and getting ready for grad school as well. and now I'm coaching high school boys basketball, and I'm not very good at it, actually, is what I figure out pretty quickly. And then lo and behold, so we're at Randolph-Macon Military Academy in Front Royal. And then lo and behold, his father passes away within like 2.5 weeks of me being there. And he said, well, the team is yours until I get back. wait a minute. Excuse me? And so he goes, yeah. So he said, I'll help you with your first game, but he said, I got to go. I got to take care of the arrangement. So, he sits at the end of the bench for the first game while I'm coaching my first game there. And they're undefeated at this point. So now there's all this pressure to keep them that way, right? So we win that game, struggled pretty mightily, and really didn't even know where to begin to get better. But I didn't really want to bother him either, because obviously what he was dealing with. So our next game is against the number 3 team in the state of West Virginia. So it's an out-of-state game. It's a big-time high school game. We go there, and I have zero idea of what I'm doing once I'm, unleashed. It was pretty special, man. and we're in a pretty bad dogfight. And next thing I know, we're down. It's the fourth quarter, and one thing I've always known in my career is defense. And so I called a timeout and said, hey guys, sorry I don't know all your names. I know jersey numbers. This is what we're going to do. The start point. We're going to full court press for the rest of the game. You're going to lock your guy down, and this is how we're going to win this game, right? And so we actually started clawing back pretty well. And there was a moment in the game where one of my guys, it was probably would have been the go-ahead player of the game. He's at midcourt. Somebody threw an errant pass. He jumps in the air, and this kid's like 6'2". He goes and gets it like a receiver, man, and somebody undercuts him, flips him in the air. Oh, wow. No call. They go down, layup, and one on a touch foul. I absolutely lose it. Just 100% lose it, right? So I'm just completely spazzing out on all the refs in the middle of West Virginia. We end up losing the game by 1 or 2. And so now it's the first loss of the season, and it's the first loss of the season on this guy, right? So now I feel terrible because I feel like my guy could have won the game. We still have an undefeated record, the whole 9. So he talks me off the ledge, as we talk on the phone that night on the way back. But I remember the funny part about that story. None of that was the funny part of the story. The funny part of the story was the next day when I'm walking through the hallways, and the headmaster of the school, who happens to be a 2-star general, walks out the door, who happened to be at the game. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? So I'm trying to avoid him, but I can't. So he's walking straight to me, and I'm walking straight to him, and he stops in front of me, and I stop in front of him, and he goes, tough night last night, huh? I said, yes, sir. He goes, lost your cool a little bit, huh? I said, yes, sir. He goes, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, won't happen again, will it? No, sir. And he goes, have a great day. And he just he walks. So this is my first foray into coaching, right? It's just, I'm walking up the hallway shaking my head. And so, we figure it out. He eventually comes back, and we finish the season. We actually finished co-regular season champions, and then I think we lost in the second or third round of the tournament. But then I go off to grad school, Syracuse University, and it's crazy as it sounds, I was actually going to give basketball up at that point for my graduate school experience. I wasn't new basketball. I had done basketball from elementary school all the way through. I lived in many different states. I started my basketball career as a third grader in Alamogordo, New Mexico, which people have no idea where that even is on the map. It's about 45 minutes to an hour north of El Paso, Texas. And so now I'm here at Syracuse University, and I just want to focus on my graduate work.
What was your major as a grad student at the time?
So my first master's was in music education, and I didn't get in. I wanted to be a conducting major, but my audition was so bad that he said no, but you can get in doing this. So I said, okay, opportunity is opportunity, and so I went. And the funny story behind that is I worked all summer. So I did some drum corps work that summer. I used to be a drum bugle corps instructor. And I also played in a boogie band at a theme park at Geauga Lake during that summer as well. It was one of the best jobs I've ever had, just a strolling musician with a boogie band. And so I was supposed to actually have gone to grad school for that summer. There was classes I was actually supposed to take that summer that I didn't know. And so I drive up the night before classes start, and because I had band camps that I taught in the summer too. So I drive up the night before classes start. I check into this rat motel. I don't have anywhere to live. I don't have any. I'm a mess. It's just there's nothing set up. So I show up to Syracuse, and I park on the street on Sorority Row, pay the little meter for about 2 hours worth of toll, and I walk to the offices, and I knock on his door, and he says, "Come in," and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey," and I go, "Hey, Dr. Laverty." He goes, "Hey," he said, "We haven't heard from you all summer. What are you doing here?" So I reach in my book bag. Literally, this is how it happened. I read my book bag, and I pulled out my letter of acceptance. I said, "Well, I have this letter that says I can go to Syracuse University for grad school." And he goes, "You're right, you do." And he just gives me this crazy look, All right, so where do I go? He says, "Well, you need to go register for classes." I said, "All right, well, which classes do I register for?" This whole conversation is happening probably 30 minutes before the start of class, right? Wow. So I run over to the registrar's office. I get registered for all the classes I need that day. He says, "Come back after classes are done." So he gives me this spiel, and he says, "You need to go down to School of Education and talk to the ladies in that office, just to introduce yourself." The best advice he could have given me that day, actually, because I go down there and talking to the ladies, and they go, "Hey, where are you living? Welcome to Syracuse." I said, "Well, I'm living in a hotel right now." And they said, "You don't have anywhere to live?" And I said, "No, I don't." And so she said, "Oh, wait a minute, let me make a call." So she calls over to Sheila over on South Campus, and she says, "Hey, we have a graduate student, that doesn't have anywhere to live. Do you have anything for him?" And she goes, "It's about 4:40 at this point in the afternoon." She goes, "I have one spot left. One." Wow. She said, "And we close at 5. Can he get over here by 5 o'clock?" And the lady looked at me, "Can you get over there by 5 o'clock?" I said, "Where is it?" Because, at this point, I don't know campus. I've been on a visit, but I don't know campus. She said, "Where is it?" I said, "I think I remember how to get there." And she said, "Okay." I put my book bag on, I hug everybody in the office, and I take off. And I literally show up at the South Campus office at about 4:57. And she goes, "You must be Cedric." And now I have a place to live. So I do my first set of degree work, and then at that time I joined basketball. So like I said, I wasn't going to do basketball. I was still clinicianing around the country. I was doing marching band competitions, so I was traveling out every weekend. I ended up working with the SU marching band as well. And then I'm doing all these things. I'm in grad school, and I was bored. As crazy as it sounds, I was bored. I'm doing a lot. Honestly, full-time grad student, working with the band, performing in at least one ensemble, and traveling every weekend. And I just said, this is just not enough. And I couldn't figure out what was missing. So one day I was taking the bus from my residence to main campus. You got to go through athletics to get there. And I looked and I said, that's it, basketball. I was so used to a heightened tempo of every minute of your day is full because of practices or whatever. So the next day I come back, I double back to athletics, and I went up to men's basketball, met with Coach Fine. And I said, "Hey, my name's Cedric Solice, boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to be here for 2 years doing my grad work, and I'm most likely going to go back and coach high school basketball when I'm done. Can I help out? I just want to learn." And he said, "Honestly, you have too much experience to be a student manager per se. And we already have a graduate assistant, and we have a full staff. So we really don't have room for you." He said, "But we have a brand new women's basketball head coach downstairs. He needs a lot of help." And I said, I kind of looked at them, and I remember from my visit how bad the team was the year before I got there. They were pretty surly,
Mhm.
and so I go, thank you, Coach Fine. I appreciate the information, and I walk out, and I'm going, there's no way that I'm going downstairs to do women's basketball. I'm not even going to go ask. And so I get back on the bus, and I was thinking about it, and I said, well, they're pretty bad, but they play a great schedule because we were in the Big East at the time. So yeah,
Mhm.
UConn, Notre Dame, Rutgers, Villanova. I mean, all
Mhm.
the great programs with. I mean, that league is chock full of Hall of Fame coaches. And I said,
Mhm.
I can learn something from the experience. And so I go back next day, same song and dance. And so they walk me into the head coach's office, and he looks at me. I give him the spiel, and he goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "Washington, D.C." He said, "Me too." He said, "What part?" I said, "Northeast." He said, "I'm from Southeast. I'll see you tomorrow."
Wow.
Launched a 15-year career. Just
Small world.
literally just like that. And
Yeah.
so I started off as a volunteer. I finished my first set of degree work, and our GA graduated, and he said, "Would you like to come back as a GA?" And I said, "Yeah, 100%." And so I started my conducting. Dr. Lafferty said, you're good to go now for conducting. And so I started my conducting work as well. So now I'm a full-time student. I'm working in women's basketball as a GA. I'm working with the Syracuse University Marching Band, teaching drum and bugle corps during the summer. I can't remember if I was still judging at that point. But I probably was. I mean, I just had a full plate, running around
Mhm.
campus, helping my fraternity out, all those different things. And
Mhm.
then the second year of my GA ship, I actually got promoted to director of operations. So now I'm a full-time grad student who's doing a full-time job. And
Mhm.
so then I graduated, and um, off I went running into my basketball career. And so that finished in 2021 at Syracuse. So I had a really amazing career from, we were 9-22 my first year to 22-9 the second year. And then 8 years after that in a national championship game. You can't ask for much more. And
Yeah.
so then I left there.
Real
And
quick too, and it just that's our connection. So I remember, I think we met. I think it was 2011 at the WBCA, women's basketball Final Four. I think it was in Indy, if I'm not mistaken. But it had round tables, and literally it was round tables, right?
literally,
No panels. And I remember when I got there, I was like, okay, who am I going to talk to? Because I was junior, I was an assistant women's basketball coach
mhm,
at a junior college, right?
mhm,
And I had a similar story to you where I think I applied to, ironically enough, for a Dobo position at a school in New Mexico, right? And so we were going back and forth, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine that's like, I got a job for you if you want it. It's not too far from where you're at in the Bronx. And I'm thinking, Fordham? Like, I don't know any other schools in the Bronx. And he's like, it's a JUCO. And, but he's like, it's on the women's side. And I was like, all right, I'll check it out, see what it's like. So similar story, right? I show up, the athletic director was from Fishtown area, Philly. I went to undergrad in Temple. She looked at my resume and she said, um, how'd you like Philly? I'm like, loved it. She's like, the head coach likes you, you're in. And I was like, okay. And I'll never forget too, when we met, I was one of those people that I save everything, right? So you were super impressive with what you put together, right? Some people had like a one-page document. Some people were just talking off the cuff. You put together a full, I think it was like at least 10 pages or so. Super professional. And I got to show you, still got
that's
it.
crazy.
Still
Oh,
got it.
wow.
Still got it. I know it's hard to see on camera, but it's called professional enhancement moving forward to maximize your career environment. And I saved this in one of my binders of professional development over the years. And
Wow.
Like I say, you never know
Wow.
impact, right? Impact. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, I always enjoyed doing those, man. My thing has always been people. I feel like so much of what I've done, I got for free, so to speak. I
Hmm.
had to earn it in terms of I had to do the work, I had to be there. But
Hmm.
somebody said, "Hey, you're allowed to be here."
Hmm.
And because I was allowed to be there, allowed me to learn all the things that I learned. And
Hmm.
so I've always been of the mindset or belief that each one teach one,
Yeah.
share what was given to you, you
Hmm.
know, and let somebody else take whatever you got and make it even better. And so when I always took those roundtables very seriously because I didn't know who was the next person who could take that information and make it something unbelievable. And
Hmm.
I wanted to equip people with maybe a better route to go than I had. You know, some of maybe either the mistakes I made or uh, they could conceptualize a more fluid path to achieve what it is that they wanted to achieve. So I was committed to doing those roundtables, every chance I got the opportunity to.
And full stop too. I still get your text message every holiday with the little. Tell everyone about your text messages that you send out every holiday because I really appreciate those. I forget about them until I get them, and I'm just like, wow, these are catchy.
It's funny. I don't know when I started that,
Hmm.
and it was one of those things where I started it, and I think maybe I sent it to a couple of friends one
Hmm.
year for whatever holiday,
Yep.
and people kind of just got the same reaction you have, and they said, looking forward to the next one. So I go, oh, okay. So then I did the next one, and I sent it to more people, and then I said, huh, you know, you know what I think it might have been when I first became an assistant at Syracuse. And you're always communicating with coaches and high
Hmm.
school coaches and AU coaches. And I wanted something I think I could send out to everybody that was from me. You get the little generic holiday card from all the athletic
Right. Right.
departments, but it's not authentic, right? And so I didn't want to send anything long, 160 characters or less, you
Hmm.
know. And so there was a lot of thought to make it fit, but
Cool.
also say something and make it fun.
Hmm.
So something you go, huh, that's funny, or huh, that was stupid, but it was still
Right.
funny, whatever the case may be. And so the more I did it, the more people just kind of responded the way you did. So now it's just become a thing, and that goes out to, I would say, over 1,000 people every holiday.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Definitely impactful and unique too. I don't know anyone that does anything like that, and then like thinking back, the digital space back then wasn't as, Twitter was just kind of in its early infancy stages and things like this. And now it's, automation is everything. So it's full circle.
yeah, I miss the days where you could, because I send them, because you can't send it out as a group, right? Because now everybody's in
Yeah.
a group. But back in the
Mhm.
day, you used to be able to select on your phone, I think it was like up to 50 people, and it would
Mhm.
send the message out, singularly. So it didn't take as long. But
Mhm.
now I have to actually send each one of those out one by one because
Mhm.
as the new technology came, it actually took some of the smart technology away.
Yeah.
And so it's, my ex-girlfriend used to just sit there and watch me do this all day and be mad, because it literally would take about 3/4 of a day to get all of them out.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
hey man, it's a service to the community.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to switch gears real quick because I know you have a lot of experience on not just for basketball and music, but on the international stage too. Tell me a little bit about places you've been, experiences you've had, and some of those lessons.
And I tell you what, and one thing I want to leave with all the whoever has a chance to watch this. So many things in my life have been tremendous blessings. I've been so blessed, whether it was things that got me into music, things that got me into Syracuse, things that got me into wherever, including this next international piece that we're going to talk about, literally just by asking. And so, one thing I want to encourage people is just ask. Literally, you never know. People want to help people. That there's this misnomer that the world is a selfish place, and there is a level of selfishness to the world, no doubt. But people really want to help people, and when you ask and you just keep asking, eventually somebody's going to either say yes or let me put you in connection with this person who could
Mhm.
assist with your ask. And so I've always had a desire to travel internationally. That's something that I always wanted to do. And then back in 2008, we did a foreign tour for women's basketball to France. So we did Nice, we did Lyon, we did Paris, we also went into Switzerland, and we went to we stopped over in Monte Carlo, I believe it was. And so it was a great trip, 10-day trip. And I said, I absolutely love this. I have to travel internationally. And so in my career, I've had some amazing opportunities. Uh, the biggest ones were the World University Games.
Mhm.
That actually came along as a result of, once again, a crazy ask. We were at the Final Four in 2016. We were playing in the Final Four, and a good friend of mine, and I love this guy to death, Nels Hawkinson. He runs Basketball Travelers. He comes to me and he says, "Hey, we want to talk to you." And I'm like, "Okay, am I it's one of those, am I in trouble?" One of those kind of, "Hey, we want to talk to you." So they
Mhm.
bring me down for breakfast and they say, "We have a spot opening up and we want you to be the guy." And for me, it was flattering because it fit literally kind of everything I wanted to do professionally. I wanted to be
Mhm.
around teams. I wanted to be I wanted to be able to communicate and lead teams and be able to do that on the international stage and international space. And that's specifically the area that they work in. And he
Mhm.
just felt like I would be great in the role. And so I said, well, we're kind of in the Final Four right now. I have to get back to you after this. And so uh, he flies me out. We do the whole interview. They do an amazing job of rolling out the red carpet.
Mhm.
And um, it was an excruciating process for me because it was, how do you weigh just finishing in the Final Four, feeling like you have a shot to get back to a national championship within the next year or two,
Mhm.
with parting ways and going into a whole new career track. And
Mhm.
so I remember in the process, as I'm thinking about it, I called Nels. I said, "Hey, question for you. In the event that I say I can't do this, or is there a way that I can still assist with your World University games and your FISU America games and those things while still
Mhm.
being here? Because those just require remote opportunities, so to speak. And during the
Right.
summertime, I could go do that, and then I could come back to my job." And Nels
Yeah.
goes, "No." And I said, all right, I had to ask. Well, lo and behold, uh, that late that fall, he
Mhm.
reached out. It was the fall of 2016, and he goes, "Hey, we actually could use your help with the 2017 World University Games with men's basketball." And I said, "You can count me in." That was immediate, like no question asked. Like, men's basketball, World University Games? Yeah, best sporting experience of all time. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so World University Games, for people who don't know, it's the second largest sporting event in the world behind the Olympics. And so they treat it exactly like the Olympics, except it's for all university level athletes from all countries across the world. And so when you walk into that opening ceremonies, it's just like being at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. My first one, I want to say there were about 80,000, 70 to 80,000 people in that stadium. And when they announce your name, your country's name, it's goosebump city, man. And so I got an opportunity to meet the amazing staff at Purdue University. Coach Painter is the best. I have the utmost respect for that man. He's awesome. I mean,
Mhm.
he's just an everyday guy, but he's beyond every day. But when you get to know him, you just feel like he finds a way to connect with you. His staff, absolutely amazing. We took home a silver medal that summer. Then the next summer, did FISU America Games in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I was assigned to USA Track and Field, and took home multiple medals from that summer. And then the following summer, I did the World University Games again with Coach Brad Brownell from Clemson. Once again, fantastic dude. I mean, just salt of the earth kind of guy. Both these guys, great coaches. They have great staffs. And that summer, we were fortunate enough to bring home the gold. And it was how they did it was quite impressive. I mean, they were basically the underdogs for somewhat of the beginning of the tournament, and they literally just win after win started to believe. And it was a young team. It was a very young team. So that was a lot of fun, man. I've gotten to do. I got to work with the senior women's team over in Turkey the year after, so 2017. I was supposed to work with them during their Olympic year, which was 2016, but something fell through, so I got deferred to 2017, and I got to go over there and work as a consultant with that team. I've gotten to do basketball clinics in uh, Thailand, Cuba, Poland, Canada. I mean, just an unbelievable international basketball experience. You know, just what the game afforded me to be able to do. So blessed, so blessed.
For any young professionals out there or anyone, in school looking to, I guess, expand their horizons, what piece of advice would you give them or leave with them so that they could, branch out of their comfort zone, so to speak, and, maybe have some of these opportunities and experience some of these things that you have?
So the first thing I would tell college students is free work is the best work. And I know that everybody wants to get paid right away for everything that they do. But I can tell you the things that I did for free are the things that yielded the greatest return by far. No question asked. You know, when I started with my buddy at Randolph Macon, I think they might have given me a little honorarium, but I didn't ask for it. He just did it. Well, that turned into me being able to be at Syracuse. And then my thing at Syracuse, well, me being able to walk through that door at Syracuse, part of the reason. Did that for 2 years for free. And I mean, literally, there was a summer where I lived in the locker room, and that's no joke because I had to. So it was crazy. I would go to work all day, and I didn't have anywhere to stay, so I would sleep in the locker room, and I would go sleep in the locker room. I'd go in there about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and then uh, the maintenance or the janitorial staff would come through at about 4:45 in the morning and wake me up. I'd hop in the shower and I'd be around the offices around 6 a.m. Just because I didn't have anywhere else to go. So, you know, but that dedication to the work, doing it for free and doing it joyfully leads to so many things. When you're on a college campus and you're interested in sport, there's no bigger platform for your career than your athletic department because they have sports of all kind. And the
Mhm.
one thing that working with basketball travelers when I was doing those games taught me was you can learn something from every sport. And so if you're a college student looking to launch a career in sport of any kind, the first thing that you have to do is go over to your athletic department and see where you can volunteer your time. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with football or basketball, which is where everybody wants to go,
Mhm.
because soccer runs the same operation.
Mhm.
Lacrosse runs the same operation. Field hockey runs the same operation, and they have less people to do it, which means that there's more opportunity. And so if you're not
Mhm.
volunteering on your college campus and you're not getting, sports, if you're interested in communications, the sports information department, right? They're
Mhm.
always looking for volunteers to help with different things. Sports medicine, they're always looking for volunteers to help with different things. So there's
Mhm.
nothing
Mhm.
that you want to do in sports that is not available on your campus to volunteer for. Once you start volunteering and you're getting that experience, then go to the different websites. USA, so USA, USO, United States Olympic Committee website or whatever it may be called. See what opportunities are available there. Companies like Basketball Travelers, Sports Tours International. See what opportunities are available there. Your local and community organizations, the professional organizations, a lot of them have internships. The NBA, the NHL, MLB, it doesn't matter. We had student managers at Syracuse who went off and did great, and I mean great summer internships with WNBA teams. We have a young man who's still working in the WNBA, I believe, I think he's now operations, but he started off in video. We have another young man who's with the Kansas City Chiefs. He now has 2 Super Bowls under his belt. He got one his first year there, and he just got another one. And so they went off and they volunteered for these opportunities during the summer. Join your sports management club on campus. They're gonna expose you to so many different people in the industry. They're going to expose you to so many different things in the industry. If you're interested in sports law, they're going to expose you to that. If you're interested in sports business, they're going to expose you to that. Go to your communications school, see if you can, or go to your newspaper and work in the sports section so that you can report on teams if you're interested in sports journalism. Your college campus is the hub of sport activity. We say that college is for college sake, and it is. You're there to get a degree. You're also there to get practical experience, and that practical experience isn't always paid. You got to go seek it out and volunteer your time. But I assure you, the dividend return on that is tremendous.
Wow, a lot of gems in that. So I appreciate all that, and I'm sure everyone else does too. So, where can people follow you? How can people subscribe to anything that you have, and tell the people how to get in touch with you too.
So my company, CLS Leadership Solutions LLC, our whole purpose is to develop leaders and to develop organizations to function at their highest and most optimal level for their people and for their vision and for their mission. The slogan is leading today for tomorrow so others may excel. So I created that company back in 2022. Well, actually, it started in 21, but became an official LLC in 2022. And where people can follow me, you can find me on LinkedIn. I do this thing called the Solid Spot. There are, I think, 72 episodes on YouTube now where you can just go and I talk about life, leadership, and purpose. And I give you about a 2-minute blurb every week to every 2 weeks on something that will challenge you. I'm not here to teach you how to necessarily be a leader. I can if that's something that you desire. What I'm here for is to challenge how you think about leadership, to see if what you think and what you believe about leadership is exactly where you need to be, or do you need to, or not need to, but would you be open to thinking about something in a different way that would make you better in an authentic way? So I'm not going to walk into Jim Boeheim's office and say, "Hey, coach, this is how you should be a leader," because he's just going to run me out of his office with a few choice words. What I'm going to say to him maybe in a moment is, "Hey, coach, have you ever thought of what do you think about this? Have you ever thought about this? Let's have a discussion about it." And if you are resolute in that, what I've done is helped you reaffirm your leadership. If you question that, what I've helped you do is think about investigating a new way to approach that's authentic to you. So that's my platform. Like I said, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on YouTube, and I share that information to challenge people to be better leaders every day.
Cedric, thank you for your time, friendship over the years, and all of your wisdom. So this has been awesome.
No, thank you for having me. This has been great. Everybody, you guys have no idea how awesome this guy right here is. He did it ground up, and I always have the utmost respect for people who do it that way because you own it, and you own your journey, you own your knowledge, you own your pathway, and I think that is the absolute best way to do it. So thank you. I'm honored to be here on your show.
Thanks.